Have you ever met someone who seemed perfectly put together, only to later discover a side of them that surprised you? Most of us believe we can read people, predict their behavior, judge their character, and know who they really are. But according to the Swiss psychologist Carl Jung, we are often deceived. People wear masks, and their true character hides beneath layers of social performance and unconscious defenses. The fascinating part is that Jung discovered a way to see through those masks. He believed that by asking just 2 carefully chosen questions, we can reveal more about a person than years of casual observation. These questions not only uncover the hidden parts of others, but also shine a mirror back onto ourselves. In this video, we'll explore Jung's discovery in simple terms. We'll look at why people hide their true selves, what these 2 questions are, how they work, and what they reveal about human nature. By the end, you'll see people and yourself through a new lens. Why we all wear masks. Carl Jung used the word persona to describe the mask we show the world. It is the polite, polished, and socially acceptable version of ourselves that helps us fit in and function. For example, you might act differently at work than you do at home, or put on a cheerful face even when you're upset. But beneath the persona lies what Jung called the shadow. This shadow isn't necessarily bad, but it contains the parts of ourselves we've rejected, denied, or hidden away. It could include anger, selfishness, fear, pride, or even positive traits like joy, creativity, or confidence that we've been taught to suppress. When life is calm, we can keep our mask firmly in place. We appear how we want to appear. But Jung noticed that under pressure, when the right triggers are pushed, the mask slips. That's when the hidden parts of us spill out. The 2 triggers that reveal who we really are. Jung found that there are 2 universal triggers that bring out someone's authentic self. 1. Projection. When we criticize or dislike qualities in others, we are often projecting parts of ourselves we don't want to see. For example, someone who despises arrogance might secretly struggle with their own pride. Someone who hates selfishness might be repressing their own needs. 2. Ego threats. When our self-image is challenged, especially when we're proven wrong, our defenses come out. How we react in these moments says more about us than how we behave when we're right or comfortable. Based on these discoveries, Jung crafted 2 deceptively simple questions that cut straight through the persona. Question 1. What kind of person do you absolutely cannot stand? This question looks innocent, but it digs straight into the shadow. When someone answers, they think they're describing others. In reality, they are describing rejected parts of themselves. If a person says they can't stand liars, Jung would suggest they may struggle with their own honesty, perhaps lying to themselves or hiding truths they don't want to face. If they say they hate selfish people, it may reveal someone who represses their own desires so deeply that they resent seeing them in others. If they say they hate weak people, Jung would say they're terrified of their own vulnerability and have built an identity around appearing strong. Even the way someone answers matters. The stronger their emotional reaction, the more likely it is that they are describing traits they carry within. Jung put it beautifully. Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. This means the people who push our buttons are often mirrors, reflecting back what we need to examine in ourselves. Question 2. Tell me about a time when you were absolutely certain you were right, but turned out to be wrong. This second question may be even more powerful. It reveals how a person deals with being wrong, a threat to the ego. When someone recalls such a moment, their reaction exposes their defenses. Jung identified several common patterns. Denial. I wasn't really wrong. The situation just changed. Rationalization. Yes, I was wrong, but here's why it made sense at the time. Projection. I was wrong because others misled me. Minimization. It wasn't a big deal anyway. Each of these responses shows an unwillingness to fully face fallibility. But Jung also noted that people with strong character respond differently. They can admit their mistakes without collapsing. They can laugh at themselves. They can reflect with curiosity instead of defensiveness. To Jung, this ability, what he called holding the tension of opposites, was a sign of psychological maturity. It means a person can balance success and failure, right and wrong, strength and weakness, without losing their sense of self. The 3 character types. By studying people's answers to these questions, Jung noticed 3 broad patterns. 1. The inflated ego type. Projects negativity onto others. Refuses to admit mistakes. Appears confident, but is actually insecure. 2. The self-deprecating type. Admits flaws too quickly and too often. Uses humility as a defense mechanism. Avoids deeper self-reflection by staying on the surface. 3. The integrated type. Acknowledges both strengths and weaknesses openly. Accepts mistakes with humility. Moves toward what Jung called individuation, becoming their authentic self. The integrated type is rare, but it represents mental health at its best. Red flags to watch for. Jung also warned about certain answers that signal deeper psychological trouble. If someone projects all negativity onto one group, a race, gender, or political party, it suggests splitting, a dangerous inability to see complexity in human nature. If someone claims they've never been wrong, it reveals psychological inflation, a denial of reality that often leads to crisis. If their energy dramatically shifts when talking about what they hate, you've hit a shadow complex. If they deflect the questions back onto you aggressively, it means they're protecting something deeply hidden. These red flags show when a person is cut off from their authentic self. Why these questions matter. The beauty of Jung's discovery is that these questions do more than reveal. They also transform. When someone honestly engages with them, they are forced into self-reflection. And Jung believed that self-reflection is the beginning of true psychological growth. He called this process individuation, the journey of becoming whole by integrating both our light and shadow. To Jung, the privilege of a lifetime was to become who you truly are. Using Jung's insight wisely. It's important to note that Jung never intended these questions to be used as tricks for manipulation. He warned that when psychological knowledge is used to control others, it becomes psychological poison. Instead, the power of these questions lies in fostering genuine understanding and authenticity. You can use them in many areas of life, relationships, to see past the mask your partner wears and build intimacy. Business, to recognize blind spots and hidden motivations in colleagues. Parenting, to model self-reflection and teach children healthy psychological habits. Leadership, to create environments where authenticity is safe and valued. But above all, Jung insisted, before asking these questions of others, you must first answer them for yourself. The mirror turns inward. So let's pause for a moment and try. 1. What kind of person can you absolutely not stand? Think honestly. Is it the arrogant know-it-all, the passive-aggressive colleague, the victim who always blames others, the ruthless climber who steps on people to get ahead? Jung would say, look closely. The answer reveals something about your own shadow. 2. When was the last time you were certain you were right but you were wrong? How did you react? Did you get defensive, blame others, or minimize it? Or could you admit it freely, maybe even with a smile? Jung would say, your answer shows your relationship with fallibility, humility, and growth. These questions aren't about blame, they're about recognition. They help us see that every strong reaction we have toward others often points back to something within ourselves. The heart of Jung's insight. At its core, Jung's teaching reminds us that people are mirrors. Every irritation, every judgment, every defensive reaction is a chance to learn more about ourselves. When we understand this, our relationships change. We stop seeing others as enemies or annoyances and start seeing them as guides to our own hidden depths. This doesn't mean we excuse harmful behavior, but it does mean we approach life with greater compassion and awareness. As Jung said, everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. Final thoughts. Carl Jung spent decades studying the human psyche, and his two simple questions remain as powerful today as they were in his time. They cut through the masks people wear, expose the shadow, and reveal how we relate to our own mistakes. But perhaps their greatest power is that they don't just show us others, they show us ourselves. So the next time someone frustrates you, or the next time you're proven wrong, remember Jung's insight. Instead of reacting automatically, pause. Ask, what does this reveal about me? That pause, that moment of reflection, might just be the first step toward becoming who you truly are.